Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. James the Pad Paramahansa Parajikacharya Ashtotar the Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahansa Parajikacharya Ashtotar the Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Samaveda Bhaktavrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this 30th day of March, 2021 in SanDiego, a reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We are in chapter 9 entitled The Most Confidential Knowledge, and text 30, page 411. Apichet Suduracharo Bhajate Mam Ananyabhak Sarudeva Samantavya Samyag Vyavasito Hisa Apichet Suduracharo Bhajate Mam Ananyabhak Sarudeva Samantavya Samyag Vyavasito Hisa Dasa Apichet Suduracharo Bhajate Mam Ananyabhak Sarureva Samantavya Samyag Vyavasito Hisaha Apichet Suduracharo Bhajate Mam Ananyabhak Sarureva Samantavya Samyag Vyavasito Hisaha Apichet Suduracharo Bhajate Mam Ananyabhak Sarureva Samantavya Samyag Vyavasito Hisaha. Go ahead. Apichet Suduracharo Bhajate Mam Ananyabhak Sarudeva Samantavya Samyag Vyavasito Hisaha. Jessica. Apichet Suduracharo Bhajate Mam Ananyabhak Sarudeva Samantavya Samyag Vyavasito Hisaha. Api even chet if Suduracharaha, one committing the most abominable actions. Bhajate is engaged in devotional service, Mam unto me, Ananyabhak, without deviation. Saruhu, a saint, Eva, certainly, Saha, he, Mantavyaha, is to be considered, Samyak, completely, Vyavasitaha, situated in determination. He, certainly, Saha, he. Okay, just give me a second here. All right. Translation. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Purport. The word Suduracharaha used in this verse is very significant, and we should understand it properly. When the living entity is conditioned, he has two kinds of activities. One is conditional, and the other is constitutional. As for protecting the body or abiding by the rules of society and state, certainly there are different activities, even for the devotees, in connection with the conditional life, and such activities are called conditional. Besides these, the living entity who is fully conscious of his spiritual nature and is engaged in Krishna consciousness or the devotional service of the Lord, has activities which are called transcendental. Such activities are performed in his constitutional position, and they are technically called devotional service. Now, in the conditioned state, sometimes devotional service and the conditional service in relation to the body will parallel one another. But then again, sometimes these activities become opposed to one another. As far as possible, a devotee is very cautious so that he does not do anything that could disrupt his wholesome condition. He knows that perfection in his activities depends on his progressive realization of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, however, it may be seen that a person in Krishna consciousness commits some act which may be taken as most abominable socially or politically. But such a temporary fall down does not disqualify him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam it is stated that if a person falls down but is wholeheartedly engaged in transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord, being situated within his heart, purifies him and excuses him from that abomination. The material contamination is so strong that even a yogi fully engaged in the service of the Lord sometimes becomes ensnared. But Krishna consciousness is so strong that such an occasional fall down is at once rectified. Therefore, the process of devotional service is always a success. No one should deride a devotee for some accidental fall down from the ideal path, for as explained in the next verse, such occasional fall downs will be stopped in due course, as soon as a devotee is completely situated in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a person who is situated in Krishna consciousness and is engaged with determination in the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, should be considered to be in the transcendental position, even if by chance or accident he is found to have fallen. The words sad or eva, he is saintly, are very emphatic. They are a warning to the non-devotees that because of an accidental fall down, a devotee should not be derided. He should still be considered saintly even if he has accidentally fallen down. And the word mantavya is still more emphatic. If one does not follow this rule and derides a devotee for his accidental fall down, then one is disobeying the order of the Supreme Lord. The only qualification of a devotee is to be unflinchingly and exclusively engaged in devotional service. In the Nrsimha Purana, the following statement is given. Bhagavati chahadav ananyacheta vishamalino pivivrajate manushyaha nahi shashakalusha chabir kadachit timadapadabhavatam upayati chandraha. The meaning is that even if one fully engaged in the devotional service of the Lord is sometimes found engaged in abominable activities, these activities should be considered to be like the spots that resemble the mark of a rabbit on the moon. Such spots do not become an impediment to the diffusion of moonlight. Similarly, the accidental fall down of a devotee from the path of saintly character does not make him abominable. Now comes the last paragraph. On the other hand, one should not misunderstand that the devotee is in transcendental devotional service can act in all kinds of abominable ways. This verse only refers to an accident due to the strong power of material connections. Devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusory energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusory energy, there may be accidental fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such fall downs, as previously explained. No one should take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense and think that he is still a devotee. If he does not improve in his character by devotional service, then it is to be understood that he is not a high devotee. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and to all members of Sri Parampara, the disciplic succession. So once again in context, we see that in text 29, Krishna said that he is equal to all, that he's not partial to anyone. And depending on our willingness to engage in the process of devotional service, Krishna will reciprocate. It doesn't matter where we're coming from or what our background is, what our birth is, what our social standing. None of that matters. It's just a question of our sincerity in surrendering to Krishna and his representative and actually taking up the process wholeheartedly. So, now the present verse is really a warning that because the tendency is to make snap judgments, is to put people into cubby holes and say, oh, Yeah, I know he's supposed to be a devotee, but I saw him drinking Coca-Cola or something. I mean, whatever. Or worse. But the idea is that it's the overall character of, you can sit right here, bro. The overall character and the thrust of one's actual life that matters. So Krishna is very lenient. After all, we've been in this material world since time immemorial. We've offended him, and the chances are we've offended his devotees. We've been through a lot, different births. We don't remember them, thank God. That's one of the great blessings. Well, it says in the 15th chapter that from Krishna is in everyone's heart, and from me comes, I'm in everyone's heart, and from me come knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. And you can see that forgetfulness can be a real boon. That to forget all of the horror of our previous birth, and how we died, and how we got sick, and the wars we were in, and all the things we did. So we start fresh, more or less, in each human birth. But we have tendencies from a previous life. We're conditioned. As Prabhupada mentions, the whole first part of the purport here is about our conditioning. So Krishna wants us to come to him. This is the important distinction between bhakti and other processes of elevation, yoga, jnana, hatha, different yogic processes, what to speak of material processes. All of those other processes, Krishna doesn't take a hand. You've got your facilities, by your own will you can control the senses if you maybe, and then rise up to a certain Brahman platform. But Krishna only responds to devotion. He has everything else. He's full in himself. What can we offer him materially? Nothing. But what we can offer him is our heart. And as soon as we do that, even a little bit, he responds and gives us more encouragement and guides us from within. So, with that in mind, as soon as one takes up the process of bhakti, even if it's halting, even if it's imperfect, it's way better than these other processes. And we've seen so many cases, history in the Bhagavatam of great yogis, Saubhari Muni and Vishwamitra Muni, who were very accomplished in their yogic practices. They had powers. Saubhari Muni was meditating underwater for years in the Yamuna, but he wasn't performing bhakti, even though he's in the Yamuna River. He was doing some kind of yoga, and he saw, after all that time, he saw some fish copulating. He lost it. Can you imagine? Yeah. And came out of the water after all that time. You can imagine he was old and he was more wrinkly because he was underwater. So he wants to get married. So he approaches this king who has like 50 daughters, and he says, "Let me have one of your daughters as marriage." Oh, so the king knew, this is a problem. He's a powerful yogi. He could see that, and he didn't want to cross him. At the same time, he didn't want to just, force one of his daughters to marry this old and wrinkly guy. So he said, anyone that wants to marry you, it's fine. So Saubhari Muni saw what was going on, and nobody's going to want to marry me. So he, by his mystic power, he turned himself into Clark Gable. I don't know if that means anything to the younger generation. A stud. So all the 50 wanted to marry him. So now he's married. So he has all these children, and he's got 50 wives, and he says, "Oh God, what have I done?" After I don't know how long it took him, and finally he went back to his yoga, practice. But it just shows that, that when you do anything else besides bhakti, you're doing it on your own. Whatever you can bring in terms of willpower and strength, and it always fails because the material energy is so powerful. So when someone is trying to be a devotee sincerely, but because of past conditioning, he does something, Now it doesn't say here that he starts offending his guru, offending the other devotees and things. Then your progress can be really cut off, even for the rest of the lifetime. Because if you can't associate with devotees, then you're in trouble. If you did something bad, but you're not offending devotees, then you can take shelter of the devotees, and actually, get spiritual strength and try to. There's so many cases, even in ISKCON, where that's happened. So this is what Krishna is saying here. Sururacharo. Now he's referring to a verse. I forget how's it goes. Forget how it starts, but it's in. I think it's in the 11th canto. Krishna is speaking it. That if someone is one pointed, is focused on serving my lotus feet, but somehow or other, vikarma yetcho patitam katanchit, somehow he performs some abominable activity, vikarma. Still, I within his heart, if he's sincere, will correct him, and he can come back on the right path and continue. It's the same idea, just a little longer verse. So now the second part of this verse is a warning to the other devotees. This is sadhu reva samantavya. He should be considered a sadhu, even though he may have performed something nasty. But he's reformed and he's doing his best, and he or she is doing her best. And samyak means totally. Vyavasito. Vyavasito means situated in a determination. This is the key point. You remember way back in the second chapter, there was a very significant verse. You know it? Vyavasayatmako buddhir. Ekeha korunandana. Bahu shaka yanantasya buddhayo vavsayanam. We can really relate to this verse. The word Vyavasayatmaka is one-pointed attention and focus on Krishna consciousness, the intelligence. Vyavasayatmaka buddhi. Ekeha korunandana. Korunandana is the name for Arjuna, beloved son of the Kurus. So this is what we're trying to achieve in Krishna consciousness, to bring to bear the full strength of our concentration, attention, intelligence on serving Krishna, hearing our rounds. That's our strength. That's the sadhana. On the other hand, bahushaka yadantasya abhyavasayanam. When you're not focused like that, then you're intelligent, many branch, so many things to think about, so many things going on, and you're at the mercy really of the conditioned mind. Go here, do this, do this, ghost that person now, I don't like them anymore. Isn't it like the ghosting thing? Right? Don't answer the phone, don't answer the text. That's the flip side of it. So to get that Vyavasayatmaka abhuti, now Prabhupada, he in his purport to that verse, he cites Baladev Vijayabhushan. Well, I think Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. As saying the essence of that is the relationship with the spiritual master and making the instruction of the spiritual master one with your heart, which is what we sing every morning. Guru Mukha Padma Vaka Chitta Te Kodeya Aikya. We sing this song, but I know for myself, if I'm not concentrating, that Bengali is just flying by me and I'm not even understanding the meaning, right? So it's important to study the word by word. So when you sing these songs, you can get the full impact. So this is such a significant line. I think one of the most important, or if not the most important in the whole song. Narottam Das Thakur is instructing us, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Te Koriya Aikya. Meaning that the words that are spoken by the spiritual master, which are understood to be the words of Krishna. In other words, he's channeling. He's Prabhupada famously would say, transparent via medium. Media via medium. He really meant via a medium. In other words, a pure channel for the words of Krishna. And because he's living it, personified, it has impact. He's not just giving something that he's not doing. So, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya, the words emanating from the lotus lips of the spiritual master, lotus mouth of the spiritual master, make it one with your heart and don't desire anything else. Now, Srila Prabhupada did that. Of all his disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he is the one who really took that order to preach worldwide to heart. And even, miraculously, in his latter lifetime, his health was failing at 69, and he almost died on the ship. And he took it, come what may, do or die, but I'm going to try to fulfill this order. To come to a strange land. I mean, when I lived on Long Island, it was an adventure just to go to Manhattan. Long Island is like 25 miles from Manhattan. It's like it's always noisy. I lived there for a year. It never gets quiet. There's always something going on. So and to strange language, and he got off the ship and he said, I didn't know where to go, left or right. But one of the devotees in Pennsylvania, Butler, they sent the traveler's aid. There's a whole thing in New York, where they can send someone who can take, come to, here's the bus, come here, Okay. So the whole thing was, Prabhupada was just going here and there, trying to get some followers, trying to do something. For 6-8 months, really nothing really happened, until by Krishna's arrangement. It's a really amazing story. He's living in this little office. Dr. Radhakrishnan didn't want him too close to his students because he was afraid he would attract them. So he puts them over on Riverside Drive, which is blocks away from the studio. All right, so Prabhupada's living there, and he's having programs. And imagine a subway car or a train car. That was Prabhupada's whole living arrangement. He's trying to have a program. He's sitting here, and you're sitting there. The wall is right behind Alex, and the walls are behind me, and we're having a trip. Anyway, so Prabhupada's having these programs. He has one follower, Robert Nelson, very sincere guy who wasn't, 100% too competent, but he was sincere. So nothing was happening. And then, it was a burglary. The superintendent, it's obvious, Prabhupada suspected him, he even says, but he couldn't prove it. Stole his, what did he have? He had a tape recorder. He had a reel-to-reel tape recorder, upon which he had recorded the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. So the guy broke in, took the tape recorder and whatever else he could find that he thought was valuable, left the tape, thank God, which then became the introduction, the most valuable thing. And Prabhupada came back, and he lost that. So he said he lost his enthusiasm for staying there. Meanwhile, downtown they'd heard that there was an uptown yogi who was really interesting, like that. And so they invited him to come down, and gradually, and he relocated downtown, and that's when things started to happen. First in the Bowery. I lived in New York. The Bowery was the place where all the we call them transients or homeless people in the country would come. It wasn't like each city had its own homeless place. They would come to New York and live in the Bowery. So that's all there was down there. People on the street, people, just sitting on the curb drinking wine, So Prabhupada had a place with another guy in there who later went crazy on LSD and wanted to kill him, and he had to run down the stairs. A senior Vaishnava from Vrindavan, and he stayed. He could have got back on that ship at any time. So this is Vyavasayatmaka Buddhi, somehow or other, try to fulfill the mission of the spiritual master and the prediction of Lord Chaitanya. And then after all this struggle, boom, it just took off, Mukunda, Michael Grant, got him that place. So that's the kind of vyavasito, determination. If the determination is there, then because of conditioning we may do something, but determination, you have to redouble your determination. I said, I don't want to do that again. So that's what this is all about. And Krishna is being very merciful here. And you'll see the next verse, he describes what happens. Unless there's any comments or questions on this one. Chipram bhavati dharmatma shasvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pradijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Purport. This should not be misunderstood. In the 7th chapter, the Lord says that one who is engaged in mischievous activities cannot become a devotee of the Lord. One who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualifications whatsoever. The question remains then, how can a person engage in abominable activities, either by accident or by intention, be a pure devotee? This question may justly be raised. The miscreants, as stated in the 7th chapter, who never come to the devotional service of the Lord, have no good qualifications, as is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Generally, a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. Continuous thinking of the Supreme Lord makes him pure by nature. According to the Vedas, there is a certain regulation that if one falls down from his exalted position, he has to undergo certain ritualistic processes to purify himself. But here there is no such condition, because the purifying process is already there in the heart of the devotee, due to his remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, should be continued without stoppage. This will protect the devotee from all accidental fall-downs. He will thus remain perpetually free from all material contaminations. So Chipra means quickly. Quickly, very soon, he becomes Dharmatma, righteous, right? Shasvat Shantim Nagachati, and attains lasting peace. So there's so much in this one line. You can't be peaceful if you're sinful. Because there's even unknowingly, even without knowing it, there's a subconscious understanding that there's a price to pay for sin. That you're a criminal in the eyes of God, and that there's a price to pay. And so, just like a normal criminal, this regular robber or burglar, he's always on edge. The cops are going to come and get him, or one of my associates is going to turn me in and take my booty, whatever. In other words, it's a very anxiety-filled lifestyle. Whereas you see that the simple devotees who really are not committing any crime, and even following the instructions and the laws of God as given by the Bhagavad Gita, they can be very peaceful. And what is the definition? Lord Chaitanya is a famous verse that he speaks to Sanatana Goswami. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ataeva Shanta. Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakali Ashanta. So there's basically 4 categories of human beings. Okay, there's the devotees, of course, and then there's the kamis. Kamis means those who have different varieties of material desire. It can be refined or it can be gross. So the bhukti kamis are 99.99% of the people. Different varieties of sense gratification, maybe it could be a little intellectual, mental, or mostly just gross sense, something along in that category. They're always looking for sense gratification, the bhukti kamis. Those who are a little more intelligent realize that this is a loser's game. I'm just paving the way to a whole lot of suffering. Even in this one lifetime, if you indulge too much in the senses, you're going to suffer like anything. So they try for mukti kamis. These include the impersonalists. They're not devotees. Their desire is to be free from birth, old age, disease, and death. And therefore they perform severe austerities. I always give an example. We're also meant to practice vairagya, as we learned in a few verses back, the famous verse. What does the vairagya consist of? It means that actively using the things that would normally be objects of sense gratification in the service of Krishna. Money for one thing, or our efforts, whatever, and foodstuffs and nice flowers and glorification books, everything in service of Krishna. And where appropriate, engaging in Krishna's service. And therefore, by that effort, you are not attached to the things for your own sense gratification. Just like I remember, when you first start, when I joined the temple way back when, there was this whole program of covering the plates before they go on the altar. Because I had service even as a bhakta going, washing the devotees' plates, so you'd be back there. And the plates that were going on, they'd be covered over. Why? So that we wouldn't lust after them. So there are all these nice preparations on there. So the passers-by, the pujaris, what to speak of bhaktas like me, washing the plates, and think, oh, that's halva. That's my favorite halva. No, that's I was a total madman for halva for years. I couldn't, I think I had my halva quoted this lifetime. And so, so what does that mean? In other words, that even the very idea of enjoying what the Lord is going to enjoy, it's an offense. Getting that mentality. That's all for Krishna's enjoyment. So that makes the devotee peaceful. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama means you have no material desire on your own. Your desires have all been sublimated. I love that word. Sublimated to be for Krishna's desire. That's what it means that you don't. In the 12th chapter, when we get to it, It says he doesn't have any of his endeavors for himself. What does that mean? Arjuna was trying so hard, but it wasn't for himself. The motivation was coming from Krishna. What does he want me to do? Or, what does my spiritual master want me to do? What am I expected to do? What is my duty? Duties are given by a higher authority. That's why it says Krishna has no duty. There's no higher authority. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. There's a line from the Upanishads. The Lord has no duties to perform. But he still does so many things. He says in the Gita, 3rd chapter, I do so many things because they follow my instruction, and other people would, they'll follow my example. Yajadati sheshta. So he goes to the sabha, he consults, when he's in Dwarka, he does things like that. But mostly, he's playing. That's not duty. That's just what you want to do. That's fun, right? So really, that's where we want to be, right? Where everything is play, and it works because it's all centered on Krishna's pleasure, and through his pleasure we get all kinds of pleasure. That's the key. But Jiva Goswami, the greatest philosopher who ever lived, he has this one line that encapsulates from one of the Sandarbhas, I forget which one, which I remember reading it many years ago. I said, oh, this really says it all. And so it's in the purport in the 2nd canto or the 1st canto, I forget which one. And it's like this. Padma bhajaniya Padma Purusha Sukha Matva Swasukatvam. Okay, to me. So bhajaniya, the worshipable supreme person, Krishna. Bhajaniya Padma Purusha Sukha Matram means only the happiness of that person. Swasukatvam. My happiness is residing only in somehow bringing as best I can happiness to that supreme worshipable person. That's pure devotional service. Anyabhilashita shunyam in his Bhakti Samrita Sindhu. Not covered, devoid of any other desire than what? Acting in such a way that's favorable for Krishna's pleasure. How do we know what that is? We learn from the books, we learn from the Guru. How to act. How to get up in the morning, stay clean. Everything is covered. The whole lifestyle. This is pleasing, this is displeasing. And so you find that if you actually do that, and especially the chanting of Hare Krishna, which is fulfilling in and of itself, when you chanting with concentration and you're in the mood of devotional service, you're doing some service, it's very, very satisfying in and of itself. It's like for like moments, maybe just moments at a time before the mind is flickering. You get the feeling, oh, this is fully satisfying. The holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What to speak of a nice kirtan with the music added, So the point is that we are naturally fulfilled and happy being Krishna conscious and serving Krishna for his pleasure and getting the reciprocation from Krishna. That's the whole point. That's what bhakti means. Bhakti doesn't mean just service. It means bhakti, loving exchange through the medium of service. And it describes how, Krishna says, bhajamyaham. Yeyatamam bapadyante, tam tataiva bhajamyaham. This is a really important verse. I think he referred to it recently, either here or in the Bhagavatam class. It mix him up. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. But he says, bhajami, I worship. Krishna becomes a worshipper of his worshipper. He's reciprocating. I remember reading, and it's not off topic, but it's a little from out of left field, how, we have this, anyone who read Krishna book, Krishna Leela, at a certain point he leaves Vrindavan, and it's a big shock to the gopis, and all of the residents of Vrindavan, and it's described in the Nectar of Devotion, how they were kind of actually mad in separation. They became almost like ghosts, They weren't living their life. And Krishna's off in Dwarka, he just married 16,108 queens, and he's doing his life. And so the gopis are saying, sometimes they complain, oh yeah, now he's got all these sophisticated ladies in Mathura, then in Dwarka. What does he have to do with us? So they're in the separation, which is the highest ecstasy, ultimately, lamentation. That's another thing. But in the Lalita Madhava play by Rupa Goswami, it describes that Krishna is also longing for them. He's also pining. And he has dreams. Rukmini is there, all the queens, but she's like, and he's saying, he wakes up at night chanting the gopis' names, Radha, where are you? And she said, well, who's that? What's going on? So it became clear that he was kind of, at a certain point, kind of mad in separation from the gopis. And so they built him a New Vrindavan, the original New Vrindavan. They had a very, very nicely brought statue of Mother Yashoda and the cows and all of this stuff, And Krishna, in his ecstasy, madness of separation, he thought they were real. So he started talking to his mother, and he's wondering, why isn't she answering me? And all this stuff. So the point is that he's exactly in the same mood in relation to the gopis. He's also in separation. So that, that's important to realize that. So we become peaceful, which is a foundation for further advancement in devotional service, by being at the platform where we don't have, our personal desires are down to minimum. And our real desire is to somehow fulfill the mission of our, of Lord Chaitanya, and do our service and contribute to the devotional service as best we can. That's fulfilling. And perfecting our hearing and chanting. I'm going to leave time to do a little poem for you. Because one of the things is, it's just how the words, everything is in the words here. It's all in the sound. Shabda Brahman, right? And so the sound Krishna, we chant the name. We said it's non-different from Krishna. What is that? Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purnak Shuddho Nityamukto Eminat Varnama Namino. It's important to read about the holy name, which is our main sadhana, and glorify. Because the holy name is a person. You glorify the holy name, and he'll stay in your mind better. He's reciprocating. So this verse says, the holy name is like a Chintamani gem, which changes whatever it touches. That's the famous philosopher's stone, probably called it the touchstone, where you touch it and it turns something to gold. So the holy name will turn your consciousness to gold, if you will, if you really absorb in it. Namanishittamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. All the rasas, with Krishna, the mellows, they can be perfected through this chanting of the holy name. They're alive, transcendental, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Purnak, it's a complete process. You don't think you have to, okay, I've done my bhakti, now let me go through some hatha. Okay, well, you can do that, but if you think that it's equally contributing to your advancement, it's not. The bhakti, the chanting, centered on chanting, is a complete process of yoga. Purna, shuddho, completely pure. Nitya mukto, always liberated from any tinge of contamination from this world. It's completely spiritual. Why? Because abhinat varnama namino, the word binna or beta, abhincha beta, means separation. Abheda means no separation. So abhinat varnama namino, there's no separation from the name and the named. The name is non-different from Krishna. So we can, when you think about it, it's breathtaking. Just by chanting this name, you can associate with God, and you can get purified and completely satisfied. So if one continues chanting and praying, to give up the deviation, the suraracharo, that the whole idea is that your determination is, okay, I'm done with that now, I'm going to be serious. Then you're praying through the chanting. After all, a chant, as Prabhupada he taught us, is a call upon Radha and Krishna for service. I'll tell you a secret. There's a wonderful poem, Sanskrit, that they're not sure exactly where it came from. It's possible that it could be written by Lord Chaitanya. At least there was some evidence that he was singing it in his South Indian tour, whether he wrote it himself or not. And it was written down by a pilgrim. And it's a kind of expansion on this Hare Krishna mantra. And here's the first verse. He Saundayana Dana Rupa Gadiman Madhuya Leelanata. He Ashtarya Vishesha Besha Dadahe Vangshi Vibhusha Vibho. He Brindata Vibhu Vilasanila Satkevi Kala Kaumudi. He Radhe Chadane Videhi Shadanamahe Krishna Trishnam Hara. So what it is calling out to Krishna and describing him, and then calling out to Radha. And at the last line, which is repeated, Oh Radharani, hey Radhe, please let me take shelter at your lotus feet. Oh Krishna, please remove my thirst. Now that can be interpreted in different ways. The way I understand is, please destroy my thirst for material things, so that I can get the full mercy of Srimati Radharani, and the rest of it is just you're calling out, hey. It's vocative, just like the Hare Krishna mantra is vocative form. So hey Soundai in the Dana Rupa Ganiman. You whose glorious form is the sum total of all beauty. Rupa Ganiman. Hey Soundai in the Dana Rupa Ganiman. Madhuya Leelanata. Who are always pleased to dance in this, engage in a dance, conjugal dance that's so graceful. Madhuya Leelanata. Ashtarya Vishesha Vesha, that your form is decorated with so many wonderful ornaments and other things, yellow dhoti and all this. So meditate, and then for Radharani, Madhurya Leelanata, hey Ashtarya Vishesha Vesha, hey Vangshiva Bhusha Vaboli, playing the flute, hey Vrindata Vibhu Vilasani, you who are nicely playing in the forest of Vrindavan, hey Bhu Vilasani Lasat Keli Kala Kaumudi, you who's are like the moon, whose moonshine are all the skills that you deploy in engaging in conjugal lila with Krishna. In other words, it's very beautifully put together. And it's one thing after another, one to Radha, and to Krishna, and the last line of Radha. So that's the mood that we're meant to be praying through the holy name. Please let me be steady, whatever you want. You can pray to the holy name for more taste for the holy name. Rupa Goswami has a prayer like that. It's called Namashtaka. He has some sample names. Agadamana Yashoda Nandano Nandasunu Kamananayana Gopi Chandra Vrindavanendra Pandita Karuna Krishnav Ityaneka Swarupe Try Mama Natit Uchaya Vardatam Nama Deham. This word Vardatam, like Govardhana, means please nourish, increase. So he gives some sample names. Agadamana, the slayer of Agasura, the demon Agadamana Yashoda Nandano, the son of Yashoda, Nandasunu, son of Nanda, Pandita Kamalanayana, you of the lotus eyes, Gopi Chandra, you are like the full moon. You catch that full moon last night? Whoa, it's a super moon. He's like a moon, the Gopi's eyes blossom wide, like lotuses when they see the moon of your face, that's it. Gopi Chandra Vrindavanendra, the Lord of Vrindavan. And then here's my favorite name. Some mother should name her kid that's Pranata Karuna. You who are full of compassion for the surrendered souls. Pranata Karuna. Krishna, of course, Krishna. Aneka Surupa, you have unlimited names. Twai Mama Rataruchai Vardatam. Please increase my attraction for you more and more, O holy name. So we need to pray like that. Because that attraction for the holy name is a measure of our attraction to Krishna. That's the whole point. So, this is how we can become Dharmatma, fully righteous, and give up any hint of sinful activity, by becoming fixed in devotional service through Vivasayatmaka, through the determination, and we get that through association and through understanding and strengthening the intelligence which can control the lower self. One more verse, and then I'll give you my other poem. This is one that Lord Chaitanya he taught to Sanatana Goswami. And it's written by Madhavendra Puri, whose disappearance we just had a couple of days ago, before Gopurnim. And he says, Kamadina katina katita palita runi deshas tesham jata maina karuna nattapano prashantihi utsrijayata natapyadupate sampratam labda buddhis tamayata kshadanam abhayam mam niyung svatma dasye. In how many ways have I sought to obey the seductive demands of my wicked desires? They've shown me no mercy, yet on I've gone shamelessly trying to quench lust's unquenchable fires. But now I'm rejecting these hellish desires, for my higher intelligence now has awoken. O Krishna, O shelter of fearlessness, please let me serve you with faith that will never be broken. It's very instructive, we can go into it next time. But the main thing is to strengthen the intelligence through hearing and association, so that you can do what you're supposed to do and not do what you shouldn't do. And this way we become fixed on the path. All right, any quick comments or questions, either here or abroad? Okay, I know I've kind of gone on. But I wanted to share with you this one, which I've even brought my iPad so I don't have to try to dredge it from my memory. There's a poem called the Madhurashtakam by Vallabhacharya, very famous. Adadam, madadam, vadadam, madadam, nayanam, madadam, dadadam, patadam. Maduradi patera kilam madaram, the last line. You are, oh emperor of sweetness, you're completely sweet, you know. So when I read that, oh boy, I'm sorry, somehow this thing is almost out of juice. But I'll just lower the, there we go. So I wrote something. So it's an easy rhyme, you'll see why. But it gives you a chance to really visualize Krishna, you know. So it's it's in second person, you're addressing Krishna. Your lotus feet and hands are sweet, your waist and lotus navel sweet. Your threefold bending pose is sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your lips are sweet, your smile is sweet, your lotus eyes and face are sweet. Your heart is sweet, your name is sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your jaunty peacock plume is sweet, your forest flower garland sweet, your bluish black complexion sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your jeweled ornaments are sweet, your silken yellow garments sweet, your flute and horn and staff are sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your splendid golden belt is sweet, your brilliant yellow tilak sweet, your gunja berry necklace sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your glossy curly locks are sweet, your dancing sidelong glance is sweet, your eyebrows playful gestures sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your voice is sweet, your words are sweet, your tinkling ankle bells are sweet, your flute song and your laughter sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your lips are sweet, this is kind of the refrain. Your lips are sweet, your smile is sweet, your lotus eyes and face are sweet. Your heart is sweet, your name is sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. So then as I go through the different lila, baby lila and other lila. Your crawling in your yard is sweet, your being dragged by calves is sweet, the elder gopis' laughter sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. The elder gopis' plaints are sweet, your feigning innocence is sweet, your melting all their hearts is sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. The claim you'd eaten earth is sweet, your soda scolding you is sweet, your opening your mouth is sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your butter thievery is sweet, your running from your mother sweet, her binding you with rope is sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your lips are sweet, your smile is sweet, your lotus eyes and face are sweet. Your heart is sweet, your name is sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Now, Sakyaras. Your cows and coward friends are sweet, your giddy Govardhan is sweet, your dear Yamuna river sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your forest wanderings are sweet, your foot dust and your gait are sweet, your dancing and your singing sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your jokes and playful pranks are sweet, your generosity is sweet, your love for your companion sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your mimicry of birds is sweet, your swinging from a bough is sweet, your daily forest picnic sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your nap beneath a tree is sweet, your friends' massage and songs are sweet, your soft and fragrant limbs are sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your lips are sweet, your smile is sweet, your lotus eyes and face are sweet, your heart is sweet, your name is sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Now, the rasa dance. Your moonlit autumn night is sweet, the forest heady fragrant sweet, your flute song for the gopis sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. The gopis joining you is sweet, you're testing their devotion sweet, their song of full submission sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your love play with the girls is sweet, their pride at being with you is sweet, your disappearance bittersweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your secret rendezvous is sweet, your dalliance with Radha sweet, her love for you supremely sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. The gopis' search for you is sweet, they're acting out your pastime sweet, their moving song of longing sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your coming back to them is sweet, your pacifying words are sweet, your blessed rasa dance is sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. I got a serious bee here who's listening. Huh? Yeah. Hare Krishna. Your lips are sweet, your smile is sweet. No, you're coming back to them is sweet, your pacifying words are sweet, your blessed rasa dance is sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. Your lips are sweet, your smile is sweet, your lotus eyes and face are sweet. Your heart is sweet, your name is sweet, O king of sweet, you're sweet complete. My humble hymn is no great feat, but yet still I pray, O king of sweet, that with your favor it may meet, so you'll reveal your lotus feet. Hare Krishna. That's all we have time for tonight. So we'll adjourn and gather tomorrow. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.